This meeting is called to order. This work session regular meeting of the Township Council is called to order. Madam Master Clerk.
In accordance with the Open Public Meeting Act of the State of New Jersey, adequate notice of the Tuesday, November 24, 2020 work session regular remote meeting of the Franklin Township Council was made by the posting on the front doors of the municipal building, posted on the Township's website, and electronically transmitted to the officially designated newspapers, indicating that this work session regular remote meeting would take place via WebEx at 7 p.m. on Tuesday, November 27, 2020.
Thank you. We could have the Pledge of Allegiance. I will lead it. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We're on to item number 3, invocation by Councilman James Bassanella.
If we can all take a moment in our own way to reflect upon how blessed we are and to think about everyone who has had such a difficult year, and to remember to be thankful for everything that we do have, and perhaps the people and the little things in life we were able to get reacquainted by because of the COVID pandemic this year. Continue to be thankful for everything we have long after this pandemic is over. Amen.
Amen. Madam Master Clerk, roll call.
Councilman Barrison?
Here.
Councilman Chase?
Here.
Councilwoman Francois?
Here.
Councilman Galtieri?
Here.
Mayor Kramer?
Here.
Deputy Mayor Onijaka? Muted. Councilwoman Pruitt?
Here.
Councilman Vassanella?
Here.
Councilman Wright?
Okay. Yeah. Deputy Mayor Johnson, I'm here.
Okay, thank you. We're on to commendations and proclamations. Councilman Barrison.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So this organization, IT Serve Alliance, has made a couple of donations. This recognition is for the first one, recognizing and commending IT Serve Alliance for a $5,000 donation to the Franklin Township Police Department's Community Resource Bureau. We, the members of the Township Council of the Township of Franklin, Somerset County, New Jersey, wish to thank IT Serve Alliance for donating $5,000 to the Franklin Township Police Department Community Relations Bureau to help fund technology upgrades at the Community Resource Bureau and for needed hardware for tutoring and counseling services. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. We're now to the portion of the meeting for public comment. So we have a motion to open to the public.
So moved.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All for opening the meeting to the public, say aye.
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 Opposed, say nay. It is passed. The meeting is open to the public. We will do 3 minutes a person. Mr. McQueen, I see members of the press, but no one else out there. Do your thing.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Anybody from the public wishing to speak, we ask you use the chat window and use the raised hand feature. If you're called in by phone, we ask that you press *3 to indicate that you would like to speak. At this point, I will unmute everybody. Anybody from the public wishing to speak at this time? Mr. Mayor, I see no indication of people wishing to speak from the public.
motion to close the public portion based on no one looking to speak in public.
Seconded.
Moved in second, and all in favor of closing public portion, say aye.
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 Opposed, say nay. Motion is carried. Public session is closed. We're now on to council comments. That's my dog commenting. I will do it in the order of people on my screen. And that will be Councilman Wright, Councilman Vassanella, Councilwoman Pruitt, Councilwoman Francois, Councilman Abasarian, Councilman Gualtieri, Councilman Chase, and then Deputy Mayor Tony Giac. So Councilman Wright. You're a little garbled, but yes. Councilman Wright, Councilman Wright, we can't understand you. Perhaps if you turn off your video, it will be clearer. Councilman, we can't understand you. I'm going to come back to you. Hopefully it'll clear up by then. Next will be Councilman Vassanella.
Thank you, Mayor. So we did have a Public Works meeting tonight, and Councilman Chase will go into some more detail. Very interesting solar program that, if put into Franklin, will benefit, the majority of the program will benefit affordable housing recipients. So that's an interesting project we're looking forward to. Councilman Chase will go into it further. We also got an update on a lot of the projects, public works type projects, paving, etc., that we're doing, and lots that we're doing. Most of it's gotten done, and we're prepared to finish anything left in the spring. And other than that, I'd just like to say, following up to the invocation, that obviously this year has been difficult and to varying degrees, but I don't think there's anybody that can say this hasn't been probably, if not the one of the most difficult years of their life by what we're dealing with. And unfortunately, it'll probably get a little bit better, a little bit worse before it gets better. But just being that Thanksgiving is coming up, I think it's really truly is an opportunity to be thankful for everything you do have. Some of us were able to get reacquainted with some things maybe we didn't realize that we had, and some other things we didn't realize we were interested in, and kind of found our way to new things. But hopefully next year will absolutely be a better year for everyone. And happy Thanksgiving. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman Vassanella. Councilwoman Pruitt.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll keep my comments brief. We had a senior advisory council meeting. Not too much to report. We did have a financial oversight, but I'll leave that to the mayor to report out. I guess the broader thing, as we're looking into the holiday season, just be careful, be thoughtful. As Councilman Vassanella pointed out, this is a very difficult year, and when we're stressed and when we are upset and we're scared, we just want to connect with people. And this is one of those years where you really can't reach out to family and friends and be around each other like you would like to. But it's for good reason. It's to keep everyone safe. So as we move into this holiday season, with Thanksgiving this week, please be safe. Celebrate Thanksgiving as best you can. And know that, we're going to get to the other side of this. We should be together again. So just be safe, Franklin. I guess that's the only thing I really have. Just be safe, and look after yourself and each other. And that's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilwoman Cruz. Councilwoman Kimberly Francois.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The only thing I have to say is that I wish everybody a blessed and safe and happy Thanksgiving. And God bless America. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilman Wright, let's try you again. Unfortunately, we still can't see what our video just came. Try again. Still can't hear you. You know, we could try, you could call my cell phone, and maybe if I held my cell phone up to the mic a little bit. All right, we'll come back to you again later. Okay, Councilman Ambasarian.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have a couple of things to report. The IT Service Alliance that we just recognized earlier made a second donation to our high school Road to Success program. That's a program where school students who require extra guidance and instruction are brought into the school in a very small group and provide service. So the $5,000 would go towards supporting their technology infrastructure in terms of a poster printer and a color printer that'll help the students express themselves in a more creative fashion. So we thank IT Alliance for their donation. That's $10,000 this year they have given the community, and we hope that they will return next year and year after, and so on, and continue the donation. Another event I attended last weekend, it's an ICNA relief off of Hamilton Street. It's a little organization that I have not really paid attention to, but it turns out they provide good services to the community, including some pantry services, a winter clothes drive, flu shots, counseling services. So it's a good organization and providing service to the local community. It's funded by a national organization and their local chapter right on Hamilton's 1320 Hamilton Street. And please spread the word about their services. Further, I was in a financial oversight committee meeting, which the mayor will report out, as well as the public works, which Councilman Chase would report out. That's all I had, Mayor, and I wish everyone a very happy Thanksgiving, and please be safe.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Wright, how are you doing? Nope, we still have internet problems with you. Councilman Galtieri.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just the only committee that, in addition to Public Works, that I've had to report is fire prevention. So I will segue from that as be safe as you're cooking your holiday meal, and remember, if you're as you're cooking the turkey, to please be careful and keep an eye on it, so that our firefighters can stay home over the weekend or over the holiday and enjoy their holidays with their family. With that, Mr. Mayor, I just want to wish everybody in the town a happy Thanksgiving and continue to hope that everybody stays safe as this pandemic continues to go on. And remember to wear your mask as best as you can. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Ted Chase.
As Councilman Vassanella mentioned, We just had a Public Works Committee meeting, the bulk of which was taken up by hearing from Cullen McAuliffe and Joe Henry of Dimension Renewable Energy, who are proposing a community solar project for Franklin. And this is a project essentially where they will put solar cells on a couple of our large warehouses, including the 1,000,000 square foot warehouse that has just been finished on Veronica, and then low and moderate income people in the township, according to the usual definition of that, can sign up to buy essentially the electricity generated from this project, and they will receive a discount, essentially a rebate, which is basically money that comes from the Bureau of Public Utilities. There's a charge on everyone's bill for to put forward solar projects. So what this accomplishes is that more electricity will be generated from solar cells in New Jersey, sparing us from CO2 generation, and the low and moderate income people will receive something off on their electric bills if they sign up. If they want to leave it, they can leave it, but if they're saving money, I wouldn't think they would want to leave it. This should be distinguished from the kind of projects I assume everybody else gets, as I do, frequent mailings from firms that want to sell you solar electricity. And the experience of some people has been that, yeah, they give you an attractive rate for the first year, and then the rate goes up the second year above what you pay for PSE&G. But in this case, it's essentially a subsidy from the Bureau of Public Utilities, so it's guaranteed and it won't go away. So we on the committee think this is a very good idea, and hopefully on the consent agenda at our next meeting will be a resolution in support of this, which supports they have to apply to the Bureau of Public Utilities to get their project approved for this subsidy. And this is actually, they said will be perhaps the largest project they have done simply because of the size of the warehouses involved. The Environmental Commission has been interested in getting a community solar project of this nature going, but I think we were thinking in terms of ground mounted, and obviously to put the cells on the roofs of warehouses is a much better way to do it. We're not losing any farmland or cutting down any trees for solar cells. We're just using the warehouse roofs. We also heard then from Carl Hauck about the progress of a lot of projects. 2020 paving is complete, including PSC&G projects, except they missed Ambrose, so that they still have to be bugged about that. Willow Park, there's been a bit of redesign down on the parking lot, and they're going to make it clear on aerial photos for when we have the meeting on this, the extent of the blowdowns, because basically the idea is to put the park where the trees have already been blown down and sandy. Phillips Road Ravine, there was a little bit of trouble of DEP and soil conservation having a conflict. Soil conservation wanted some more soil tests, but that has been resolved. Catalpa, we're still waiting for DEP. Leaf pickups are in their fourth week and going fine. we've completed the work that the township had to do for the county Amwell Road project, which has been closed today and I guess the next few days for their repaving. So they've about finished their project. The flashing light pedestrian sign at Union Street and Laurel Avenue has been installed. We're getting a stencil, try to borrow a stencil to paint school on Union Street as residents have requested to further warn traffic of the presence of the Yinghua School there. And crack sealing will begin soon. Fire hydrant repair has been underway, also replacement in some cases. I think I've probably taken up enough time. I can't think of anything else to report on. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. And I see we've lost Councilman Wright. So Deputy Mayor Owen Jaffe.
Yeah. Thank you, Mayor. Some homeowners in Glen Development in Third Ward, they installed 3 giant solar floodlights in the darkest place within the environment there. And those lights, actually, they are helping out for the safety. And also, I know they will also be very, very useful during this Christmas or holidays period. But I use this opportunity to thank them too for doing this. Okay, another thing I have, I just want to wish everybody a joyous Thanksgiving and happy holidays. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Wright is not back on. I will say my comments. So the financial oversight meeting, we discussed CDBG money. We had a program that we offered to businesses for CDBG grants if they were having COVID related losses. We actually only got one person to apply, so we're repurposing the money along with some money that council had set aside for COVID testing. All of our COVID testing has been at virtually no cost to the town. Sometimes we might station a police officer make some incidental costs, but the town has not paid any test costs or personnel costs for the people doing the tests. And we had put $50,000 aside. So the Financial Oversight Committee recommended moving $30,000 plus the money from the CDBG money I talked about, and we're now putting $85,000 available to people who apply who are having difficulty paying their rent. There's a number of rules on it. You have to have a certain income depending on the size of your family. You can't have been behind your rent prior to COVID. And there are other rules. I try to get too much detail. I'm sure I'll get them wrong. But that's up on our website, and I'll get a copy of that and put it up on my Facebook page. And then the other thing we discussed with financial oversight is EPU granted American Water a 6.6% rate increase, which obviously would increase the amount that we pay for water. We could pass that on to the consumer. If we did that by one way of doing it, it would add about $2.85 to each quarter's payment. The advice during financial oversight was that, last thing we want to do is put more of a burden on taxpayers or water users right now. A lot of people are suffering, so we thought we would absorb it. But eventually we will have to, hopefully when COVID is over, we will have to pass that on and raise rates. Again, that was the advice of the Financial Oversight Committee. The full council would have to weigh in on that. And Mr. Vornlocker, related to us, our request had been heard by the department heads that this is not a year for spending a lot of money. The council is going to be very tight with the budget. Again, we don't want to put pressure on people that are already under pressure. The manager has passed that along, and he tells us the department's heads have heard it. So that's it for the financial oversight report. As all I'm saying, have a happy Thanksgiving, but I'm going to go a little bit farther. I want your Christmas to be happy too. I don't want the Thanksgiving dinner to turn into a sad event because somebody in your family got COVID or many people got COVID. That's going to happen. People are going to gather, and some people are going to get infected because of those gatherings. And I guarantee that's a group of people who thought it wasn't going to happen to them. It's going to happen to someone. It's going to happen to many someones, and probably many someones in Franklin, and many, many around the country. Please, my wife and I are staying at home. We have a Zoom cooking event with the rest of my family and a Zoom meeting event with the rest of my family throughout New England and New York. If you have to get together, eat your meal at home. Get together and wear masks. And unfortunately, it's going to be raining, so you can't do it outside. But open a window. Get some ventilation in the room. If you have to meet, I recommend you don't. But if you have to meet, then please do it as safely as possible. One of the major ways of spreading right now is in restaurants. You can't eat with your mask on. And so you're basically having a restaurant. And we know we trust our families, but it's going to happen to someone. Don't let it happen to you, please. All right, I'll get off my soapbox. I see Councilman Wright is back on. Councilman, do you have comments? Yes, a little garbled. Try. Unfortunately, we're not hearing from you, Councilman. Yeah, you're completely garbled. Sorry. All right, we'll move on. If you can get in later, we can make comments later. It's now, there is no council discussion item. We are now on to item number 10, approval of the minutes. I present the following minutes.
Mr. Mayor.
For approval.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I would like to give a report.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My report will be brief, and I don't want to get on my soapbox, but ordinarily the mayor would report and be the person telling you this all. But please listen to the mayor's words and other council members' words as it relates to the COVID pandemic and protections. Our municipality has experienced approximately 300 positive cases since we last met 2 weeks ago. That's roughly 3 times our weekly average for the first 7 months of this pandemic. I only raised that because those numbers have also affected our workforce within the municipality. Our township employees have experienced more, we've experienced more positive cases among our workforce and more employees having to quarantine because of exposures to people who have tested positive outside of the workplace, but then come and now we have to quarantine because they've been exposed. We've had more in the last 3 weeks than we had in the entire time since this pandemic started in the beginning of March. So I warn everybody, I haven't said anything about this really publicly, but this is of serious concern to me as the township manager as it relates to our workforce. As such, I've reverted back to our early pandemic scheduling of our workforce. People are working every other day. You know, as an example, if we have an office of 5 people and one person comes to work and then tests positive 1 or 2 days later, that entire office will now have to be quarantined for 14 days per the CDC directives on quarantine. We could effectively wipe out entire departments of the town. So we've gone to modified schedules. I say that because I want people to just please be patient with us. Please leave a message and we will do our best to get back to you. I will continue to be in the office every day. My office is isolated from everyone else's. So I've got my own self-quarantine in my corner of the building. But if you need something, call extension 6201 or 6208, which is the clerk's office, which will always have someone there. But just I ask for everyone's patience. This is a very serious circumstance that we're in, and I don't want to see it have any more of an adverse impact on our workforce than it already has. And that's all I have, Mr. Mayor. Otherwise, everyone have a happy Thanksgiving and do the best that you can to make it a safe one.
Thank you. And I will add the COVID testing the town has done is now between somewhere in 9,000 and 10,000 people that we have serviced. The next time we'll be testing will be on December 1st, which is the Tuesday after Thanksgiving. For those of you who worry that you may have picked up something on Thanksgiving. Mr. Wright, one more chance. You're still kind of garbled. Yeah, we can't hear you. Okay, now moving on to the minutes. I present the following minutes to the Township Council for approval. Work session, regular meeting, November 10th, 2020 at 7 p.m. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion or changes? Seeing and hearing none. Madam Clerk.
Councilman Anderson,
Yes.
Councilman Chase,
Yes.
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois,
Yes.
Councilman Galtieri,
Yes.
Mayor Kramer,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Oni Jaka,
Yes.
Councilwoman Pruitt,
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella,
Yes.
Councilman Wright.
Okay. Approval of the warrants, the amount of $11,710,991.94 on November 24th are presented to the Township Council for payment. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Anyone want to pull an item or question an item? Madam Clerk.
Councilman Anderson,
Yes.
Councilman Chase,
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois,
Yes.
Councilman Galtieri,
Yes.
Mayor Kramer,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Oni Jaka,
Yes.
Councilwoman Pruitt,
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella,
Yes.
Councilman Wright.
Okay, there's now 2 councilman rights. We did the warrants, so we're now on to public hearing on second reading. Their second readings are when we actually vote on the ordinance. We had the first reading on this a couple of weeks ago, and now we will bring it to council vote, but we will have a public hearing first. Ordinance 4335-20 ordinance amending the municipal code of the Township of Franklin, County of Somerset, State of New Jersey, more particularly Chapter 226, Vehicles and Traffic, Section 226-17, vehicles over designated weight excluded from certain streets. And this is to change on paper Myrtle Avenue to Myrtle Street. He's presented for the public hearing and final adoption. The public hearing has been noticed as required. Do you have a motion to open to the public?
So moved.
Second.
Moved in second, and all in favor of opening to the public, say aye.
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 All say no. Motion is carried. Meeting is open to the public for 3 minutes on anyone who wishes to speak about this momentous ordinance. Mr. McQueen.
Yes, anybody from the public wishing to speak on this ordinance only, please go to the chat window, use the raised hand feature, or if you're dialed in by phone, press *3. Okay, Mr. Mayor, unmuting everybody at this time to see if anybody wishes to speak on this ordinance only at this time. Mr. Mayor, seeing none?
And none, I'll motion to close the public portion of the hearing on this ordinance.
Second.
Moved in seconded. All in favor of closing public portion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Public hearing is closed. Do we have a motion on the item?
So moved.
Seconded.
Moved in seconded. All this is a paper change in our ordinances correcting that we incorrectly call it Myrtle Avenue in our ordinance. It's actually Myrtle Street, and we're making that correction. Any other discussion? Madam Clerk.
Councilman Barson,
Yes.
Councilman Chase,
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois,
Yes.
Councilman Galtieri,
Yes.
Mayor Kramer,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Oni Jaka,
Yes.
Councilwoman Pruitt,
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella,
Yes.
Councilman Wright.
There are no ordinances on first reading. We're now on the consent agenda. The items A through H, the world's shortest consent agenda, as listed in the consent agenda portion of this meeting, and presented to the Township Council for adoption. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Okay. Discussion, anyone want to pull an item? Anyone want to take out an item? Mr. Chase?
I just noticed that item G, authorized change order, it's rather a large change, amount increased from 112,000 to 192,000.
No, it was changed.
So that could be explained.
I think it's 112 to 134,000.
Yes.
Typo originally, Councilman.
It was changed to 134,000.
Oh, that's better.
The change to the change order. Anyone other comments? Madam Clerk, do your thing.
Councilman Barson,
Yes.
Councilman Chase,
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois,
Yes.
Councilman Galtieri,
Yes.
Mayor Kramer,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Oni Jaka,
Yes.
Councilwoman Pruitt,
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella,
Yes.
Councilman Wright.
There are no items to be voted on separately. We're now on to old business. Anyone has a nomination for committees, commissions, and vacancies? Hearing no committees, or vacancies, nominations. We have no executive